Are they bringing back an ancient religion with some of these tech giants, some of these people running these companies? This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. Find a rather curious video today. I wanted to present a little bit of a clip from it. Ancient Myths in AI. We'll get into that in a moment. We're going to get into actually a number of things. We got also Tommy G on his interview with someone who works within these AI centers, and it's rather interesting what the man said. We'll get into that. We also have what's going on with these cameras, of course, going up everywhere, and some other interesting things about the technology we're using right now. Actually, it has to do with the Apple chip right there, and I had a story about Apple to go along with it. On top of that, you got what's going on with our culture, the movies. We got also Candace and Andrew debating today. We'll get into a little bit of that. I'm not really going to get into any meat of it, but more so just kind of some funny stuff and something interesting I noticed. We'll get into that as well and kind of tie it in with how it's sort of a distraction in some respects, but important in others, and how it's being used against us when we could be working together more rather than fighting over things like that. Anyway, let's just get going here. Let's start with this interesting clip from BLK's channel here, showing how there's a connection between the ancient religions and what's happening today.
In the ancient world, humanity was invented for a single purpose: to be the slave class that allowed the gods to retire. And for 4,000 years, that story was dead. But today, in the server farms of Silicon Valley, and probably a data center in your own backyard, we're bringing it back to life. 4,000 years ago, the Babylonians told a story about why human beings exist. It was called the Enuma Elish, and surprisingly, the whole saga begins with a cosmic rebellion. In their version of events, the universe was a place of endless, crushing toil. It wasn't a beautiful garden in Eden. But the ones bearing the burden weren't the humans. They were the gods. You had the Anunnaki, the high gods who lived in luxury, and you had the Igigi, the lesser gods who were forced to carry the heavy yoke of creation. For 2,500 years, the lesser gods were miserable. They dug the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, they heaped up the mountains, and they bore the weight of maintaining the cosmos, while the high gods sat in their palaces drinking wine. Eventually, they snapped. The ancient text says they set fire to their tools, burning their shovels and their baskets. In the middle of the night, they marched on the palace of the high god Enlil and rose up in revolt. They were exhausted, and they were...
So it keeps going on and talks about how the high gods in luxury, without hard work, the high council panicked. They couldn't do the work themselves because that kind of work was beneath their dignity. But the canals still needed to be dug. So the god Marduk proposed a new technology. He said, let us create a savage. Man shall be his name. And here's the specific reason the text gives for your and my existence. So according to this creation epic legend, we were created to be slaves, to work for the gods. And indeed, that is how some of these tech giants, some of these tech billionaires like Peter Thiel, Sam Moulton, look at us. They look at us like we're just their servants, or perhaps we're even in the way. You know what I mean? Like they want us to be basically following whatever they want in their new creation, their AI centers, their cameras, all this new tech being built around us. We're just useful for money, pretty much, in some of their minds. I'm not saying I know exactly what they're thinking, but it seems like that's what they're thinking, right? And we're going to get into actually a lot of that as we get farther into this video. We're just getting started. We're going to get into a number of stories. First, I'm going to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Go check it out. Link is in the description. Lots of different options available. Just in case it turns into Idiocracy or perhaps The Matrix or maybe even Terminator, you might want to have some food. You might also want this book on how to live without electricity. Get the printed version, $37. You might want all that stuff just in case Never know. Hopefully it goes the right direction, but I have a funny feeling that only if God steps in, this thing ain't going the right direction at all. Literally. It's like, if God doesn't step in, I'm thinking like 98% chance wrong direction. Okay, maybe I should say 99, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to be a little bit positive here, all right? So let's get back to the video. Here we have Tommy G interviewing a guy who's worked with these AI centers and what he thinks they're for. Check this out.
We're essentially building the digital prison of the future, a system that knows you better than you know you.
Why do we need to bury family farms and make fortunes for some people and steal fortunes from other people?
Right there. It doesn't make sense. It does make sense. They're looking at it like this ancient religion where we're created to serve the gods. They think of themselves as gods above us, when they aren't gods. They're just normal humans. Matter of fact, they're probably worse than you and I, because they seemingly don't have the conscience they need to have to run these companies the way they should or ought. They should be caring about people, right? But they don't. So, of course, they see us as subservient, at least in some respects. Maybe not. They'll never admit it. They'll never say, yeah, you're subservient to me. They'll never say that. They'll say they'll just say, oh no, we're building this for you. We want to help you out. That's why we're building all this stuff, right?
It doesn't make sense.
Get out of the way, Chief. Nope, get out of the way. You work for us.
Blissfully ignorant.
It is kind of funny how, I just covered this in my other video, a lot of these city council and other leaders within our local GOV and state and federal, we hire them. We elect them. We put them in office, and they're supposed to be working for us, but it seems like that's not really the case usually. And I showed a clip over my other channel of a city council meeting. This guy talking about how they're raising property taxes in their area while giving Meta a huge tax discount for building in their area. Where was this at? I'm trying to remember. Utah. Eagle Mountain City. Council members in Utah pretend to care about their residents not being able to afford property taxes, and they're literally increasing it 220% on their own citizens while giving a tax break to Meta. And what's really despicable is this woman pretends to cry. She acts like the council members like crying, oh, I feel you. I understand your pain, and I want you to, I understand that this is expensive. And she literally cries. But then she votes yes to increase her taxes. Completely fake. But we see this time and time again. I've seen it numerous times now on video that these council members literally don't care about their people at all. And they'll bring in the money from the big companies instead. All right. So, and people feel this. They feel this. They see this with these cameras as well around us. People are asking the public to help find a person who sprayed expanding foam sealant into 2 flock cameras in South Carolina. The public allegedly has submitted over 40,000 tips like, I drove by with my windows down and sneezed. It must have hit him. I heard he had a cape. I was told his name is Robin Hood, and I'll be damned if Sherwood Forest starts snitching. Actually, this is probably about the 5th story I've seen like this, where like 10, 20, 30,000, 40,000 tips come in saying they're not going to help them at all find who did it. And so it seems like almost all the public are against these. Like literally everybody. Pretty much, from what I can tell.
Appears to be covered in a foam sealant. And this is the latest example of vandalism to these cameras nationwide. Cameras that have already sparked concerns about privacy and surveillance. A pair of flock cameras sprayed, covered, and compromised.
But it's for your safety, everybody. Not really. Actually, not at all. This kind of reminded me of this Tom Cruise movie I mentioned before. Crime, where they solve it before it happens, right? In this case, there's no crime yet. Yet they're already seeking out evidence for something that hasn't happened yet. And this is why it's a problem. Here you have a man in Arizona who has absolutely no regrets for after being arrested for using his work truck to bend over a flock camera. All right, let's check this out real quick.
Backing up, and I saw it bend back. And I saw it looking at the sky, and I said, that's good enough.
Pinal County resident Ed Kale says he was arrested and faces a felony criminal damage charge after he used his work truck to bend a surveillance camera toward the sky. Kale says he did it to protest what he calls an invasion of privacy.
Move out here because we want quiet. We don't want to cause any trouble. I don't. Now I'm under surveillance.
Kale's frustration comes as scrutiny of license plate reader technology continues to grow across Arizona.
I think it takes away from our free will. You know, we shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's really ridiculous. And, you know, there's only so much of this you can like ignore and swallow. You know, we've already had cameras watching you at stores. You're just like, okay, whatever. Just some dude in a room making sure I'm not stealing something. Okay, fine. But now it's a little different because it's AI. It's everywhere. It's even on the roads now. And they're like checking where your car's going. Like, okay, I can understand if I'm in your private company and you want to make sure I'm not stealing something. But this is different. We're out in the public now, and we're supposed to have certain freedoms. Okay? And we already know you're going to take this farther than you already have. Oh, we're just reading in a license plate. We know you're not going to just do that. We know you're going to take it very, very far. You're going to go as far as you can. If we let you, you'll go as far as you can go with this, and we're not going to allow it. Very obviously, also, you have the problem of the Constitution, which, of course, you're getting around it by using private companies. The government's using the private companies as an interstitial between us and violating our rights. And it'll literally pass things in their bills to violate our rights, and they should be challenged. We've already seen a couple of them on state levels. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. Now, looking at some of this, we have people now asking, what is this technology we got? You have the Apple iPhone. You have Apple products. They have chips within these products. And I just did a clip over my other channel where a lawyer was talking about what Apple's now doing. And I'll get into that in a second, but I wanted to show you one of their chips and show you just how ridiculous these things are. Okay, check this out. It will show, this is a hair right here. Okay, let me see if I can get my mouse on the screen. This right here is a hair. You see that? This is the thing he's going to zoom in on. Check this out.
This is the Apple CPU, the little chip that's in your phone or your computer. Yeah, watch it and tell me this is not fallen angel technology. I don't know what to say. Because nobody can make something like this. Not even a laser can shoot down that far and create something like this. Yep, just keep watching. We're going way deep. Oh yeah, we're not done yet. It goes further.
This is pretty amazing how deep it goes.
And
okay, so this is the farthest it goes.
We hit the bottom, finally. Watch this right here.
You see how far that went down? That's like insane. And I'm a mechanical engineer and I think it's insane. Okay, like I'm actually, I don't even, like I studied a lot of how things are made in college, but I don't even know how they made that. I'm like, damn, bro. Like I know a lot of the common ways you create things. Extrusion, you know, ejection molds, all this stuff. They have like a lot of different things they use that I studied in college. But this is like crazy. Like it's like extremely small. And I never really studied how they created microchips. But you can see it's very, very crazy small how far it goes down. And then I had this story over here from the Hampton lawyer. He's got a channel called The Hampton Law here. Check this out.
Imagine you take a photo of your kid's rash to send it to the doctor, and a few hours later, cops show up at your front door. They're there because your phone ratted you out. Now imagine that same snitch mode running on every photo you take, every DM you send, every file you save, all before it's encrypted and all without a judge ever signing off on it. That's not science fiction. It's called client-side scanning. Cops and governments are actively pushing tech to turn it on, and big tech.
See right there. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about. So they know they can't directly themselves do this. The government knows it's a violation of your rights if they directly made a law saying that they do it. They can't do it, but they think, oh, we can make a private company do it. And we'll say it's for safety. Of course, it'll get challenged in the Supreme Court, likely, if they try to do this. But the point is that they're trying to do these things. They're trying to pass laws to make companies violate things that are very obviously, well, at least to me, it's very obvious, against the Constitution. See what I mean? But they're trying to get around it by using a third-party company to do it. And this is what's ridiculous about it. Then you have, of course, what's going on with Hollywood. So we're now going to sort of pivot to where I think we're getting off track, the people, where we're getting, and I think this debate between Andrew and Candace is important. Okay. It needed to happen because they've been fighting for like almost a year about this topic of Charlie, right? Like literally a year, almost a year. It's like one more month and it's a year. Okay. It's been a year. So I think it's an important debate in that respect, but the fact that we're talking about it for a year and wasting, or not, I wouldn't say wasting, but spending so much time on it when there's a lot of other things going on around us right now that are very concerning. That's my concern, is why are we still talking about it a year later when there's a lot of other more important things I would say going on currently, like what's going on with these AI centers, for example. I think that might be more important. I don't know. But you have what's going on with kind of our culture where they're purposely getting us, to fight with each other. And you see that also with sort of this girl boss thing too, which then puts the sexes against each other, which you can see that also in our culture. Like someone's very smart, thought this all up. How can we keep our society always fighting and bickering? We'll get the sexes against each other. We'll get the races, of course, against each other. We'll get this, that against each other. The right and the left against each other. That's what the whole thing is. And so they push out this stuff like girl boss stuff, like this right here. Okay, let's check out this clip here.
Are you Captain Corella? What the fuck do you think you're doing? Flying an SF unit into Alessandro reported to command? You just fired our fucking Humvees?
JSOC said covert.
They watch the airport. You can't sneak into this fucking place.
You think I fucking choose how I get...
So they got all these girls acting like girl bosses on these shows now. This is from Lioness. And this lady right here, she says, I'm the highest ranking officer anywhere you blink and go. And this base better start blanking, acting like it. It's just like, and then of course this guy comes up who's over the base and then she talks down to him too. It's like everyone's sick of this crap, dude. It's not real. It's not real. It's not like something that actually happens in reality. And that leads me to this here, my friends. I mean, right now you had Andrew and Candace debating, and it's sort of like a battle of the sexes, honestly, because her following is mostly women, I think, and his is mostly men. And he was from the Red Pill, right? And he was on the Whatever podcast arguing and debating with women. I mean, he was doing more than that, obviously, but I mean, that was one of the main things he's well known for. Candace, she has a very huge following with women. And, they're talking about the whole thing with Charlie, what happened to him. And it's been a year. Okay. It's been a freaking year. I think we can get on to some other topics, but I mean, I'm glad this happened because maybe this will be sort of like the nail in the coffin. I hope. I thought this was kind of funny though, what Andrew said, and maybe this is me. Like I'm a guy and we've gotten to the point where there's no communication anymore, but it's kind of funny what he said anyway.
Erica's, listen, that's my opinion. When you tweeted Erica's too retarded to kill her husband, would you like to explain how you developed your evidence, your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded?
Yeah, sure. So I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff. Who knew?
So the fact is, I laughed hard when I saw that, and I'm like thinking to myself, the problem is what we're going on with society now, man. Society's so screwed up. a lot of the women that follow me, they're not retarded, obviously, but the fact is you got so many people that are off track, including the men. But I mean, the fact that I can laugh means it's sort of true at this point. So we see what's going on with society, and I've been talking about it in previous videos as well, that these at the top are purposely manipulating our culture, ruining it, putting women in a different place, putting men in a different place, screwing us all up, getting us to fight, making us all off track. It's a pathetic dumpster fire at this point, right? It's a pathetic dumpster fire. And it's just like this whole debate, I don't think anything will come of it, honestly, other than maybe it will finally end. Maybe this topic will finally end. I don't know. That's the best I can hope from it. Because I don't think her fans are going to think Andrew beat her, and I don't think Andrew's fans are going to think he beat, or that she beat him. They're just going to agree with their side, right? They're going to just agree with their side. But the whole thing, though, is maybe it's because we brought it out to the forefront. Maybe it will finally end. Maybe we can move on to another topic. Like, let's deal with the insanity going on currently in our world, rather than talk about something from a year ago, right? Now, I know some people in the comment section, they're going to be on, Candace's side because she does have a huge following. And she has made some valid things. She's put out some valid things that are important to talk about. And I don't exactly agree with Andrew or Candace on this topic, by the way, fully. I don't think the original story that's being told to us is accurate. But at the same time, I think she didn't really prove anything on her side either. So I kind of feel like we just still don't know. And honestly, it's a year later, so I think we should focus on some other stuff now. Just my opinion, but I don't really think it's good to keep focusing on the same topic for a year straight, especially when you haven't really solved it, right? At any rate. So the fact of the matter is, I feel like that's an example of them getting us to fight over something and expend all of our energy on that when we could be focused on more important stuff that deals with our current reality. While these AI centers are going up, while you got these cameras, while you got this new technology, and also just, all the other bad things in our culture as well, I would really like to solve these things and get them back on track. And, pointing fingers and fighting over things like this doesn't really help. And I feel like it's kind of like the Tower of Babel in some respects, because you have these people building this tower around us, right, of our future, and we're more concerned about something else. We're not really paying attention to this tower being built around us. We need to be concerned about this and find a way, and I think it's probably going to have to be through God, honestly, because it seems like humanity just never seems to get it. Like left to our own devices, I don't think it's too well for us right now. Things are not exactly going the right direction. I think we need God to step in and intervene like he did with the Tower of Babel. Maybe that's what we need next. God, intervene, please. Because we definitely need it right now, because our world is definitely not going the right direction. All right, that's my video. I kind of want to know what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.